Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the True Crime Enthusiast. I'm Alessia, and today we're going to be having a podcast. And this is a podcast about where I dig into the past, talk about various crime stories, true crime stories, and talk about it with my co-host and guest. And today I have my co-host with me, One Ting. Oops, something in my head. Yeah. And my secondary school friend, Nadia.
Hello.
To come with me on this journey. So let's get started. So basically, this story is, it's a true crime story. We're gonna talk about this one infamous case that where this kind of parenting style, where helicopter parenting and tiger parents, was able to push someone to the edge, and it didn't end up in very good consequences. So this is the murder case of the Pan family. So our story begins with Hui Han Pan and Big Ha, who we will call Han and Big. They were both Vietnamese refugees who went to Toronto. I think they escaped to Toronto. Both at different times, but then they met there and they fell in love, and then they got married. So right after they got married, they had two children. So one was a girl named Jennifer, who is the main focus of the story. And then the other is a younger boy, 3 years later, than Jennifer, who is named Felix. And 3 years after the birth of Felix, I'm guessing, I'm not very sure, they found a job. Both of them found a job at an auto parts manufacturer, which is a place that manufactures car parts. So they were very frugal people, like super frugal. So with that mentality and attitude, right, they managed to save up enough money, and by 2004, so they got the job in 1989, and by 2004 they were able to save up enough money to buy a large house in a town like about an hour away from Toronto called Markham. And this house had a two-car garage. And guess what they put inside the two-car garage? Han drove a Mercedes-Benz, and the wife, Big, drove a Lexus ES 300. Both luxury cars, by the way. Like, it's not your bread and butter car. They earned enough money to buy these cars. And on top of that, they had 200,000 inside, like in savings. So it's like in reserve. They have worked that hard and become that frugal to save up that much money. So basically,
Maybe
they were like
learn.
So basically, they were like the immigrant success story,
Wow, rags to riches.
Yeah, rags to riches. They were refugees. They came to Toronto and they became rich in a sense.
Oh my god, I need to take notes.
So, with this immigrant story and this whole thing where they came from Vietnam to a foreign land, and they managed to find success, and they started building a very good foundation for their kids. They want their kids to thrive off that foundation, right? Like any normal parent would. So what did they do? Typical Asian. They threw the oldest child, Jennifer, because we're focusing on Jennifer. They threw her into piano lessons. And well, she showed a good promise at it at 4 years old. After that, she was thrown into figure skating. And she was thrown into figure skating. And she was thrown into figure skating with the hopes of her making into the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver to be a figure skater. Wow. But then that dream was kind of shattered because she tore a ligament in her knee.
No.
Yeah. So it was quite sad lah. She wasn't able to compete or anything. Yeah. So but then this like her schedule is scary. Let me just read out her schedule to you. So she will go to school. By the way, this is in elementary school, which to us would be like primary school age. So she would go to school, and then she would go to practice, and then she would come home from practice at 10 plus, and then she'll just do her homework till midnight and then sleep. And then she would just repeat that day again. Just over and over and over again, always practice, lessons, figure skating, whatnot. Like,
yikes.
I don't know a child that goes to sleep at midnight in primary school. Like, I think down here, your parents would, like, my mom would be ass whooping me to my bed at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So even though all this and through this whole entire thing, she was described by her peers as, you know, very pretty. She's tall, but
Oh.
she was very plain looking because, well, I'm guessing her parents didn't decide to sponsor clothes or anything like whatnot. Yeah.
Ah.
So she never really wore makeup. And then she also had this like glasses that kind of like Nadia has, but they weren't trendy back then. So it was kind of like described as not trendy,
Nerd, right?
not expensive. It
Oh, no.
was cheap and you know, just to go by with her eyesight, you know, so that
She's
she can see and then walk into a
basically-
wall. Yeah.
She's basically like the Asian stereotype, but like
Yeah.
enhanced.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone there is like, there's an Asian.
Okay. Yeah. So she had a personality that was described as very friendly, very confident, you know, and she would mix with everybody because the school allowed that. You know, they would mix with boys, girls, you know, whatever race they would mix with, Asians, Caucasians, and then they would mix with jocks, they would mix with nerds, geeks, artsy people, everybody. So she would just be friends with everybody. So, you know, here you have this girl who's very promising, like this young girl, social butterfly, straight A student. Oh yeah, she was a straight A student, by the way.
Wow.
She gets straight A's. So
But
yeah,
honestly, it's like I didn't expect it though. Like I thought that she'll be like some nerd, like very quiet that kind, like you know, like
Yeah.
study and then quiet, very quiet, then not to anyone.
Quietly go home,
That,
right?
that kind, yeah. Then like she's actually quite friendly and like outgoing, like very surprising.
I think one of her, like a friend of hers, not a friend of hers, I think a junior of hers actually said that, you know, if you got her attention, you will have her attention for like an hour or so. Like she would literally give you all the
Wow.
attention and she'll talk to you and she'll ask you questions. She was very friendly and she was very like able to connect with a lot of people. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, you have this girl who she's a social butterfly in school. She's a straight A student. She won scholarships. And on top of that, she can play the piano. She was in a school, I think she was in a school band and playing flute. And then she would, yeah, then she would figure skate. Well, that really didn't work out, but you know, she would figure skate. By high school, she actually had an early acceptance into Ryerson University. Yeah.
Wow, she is succeeding.
Yeah, and then she said, okay, it's not a university that I really was planning to. It's not like the best university or anything. So I'll go study 2 years in science, and then at Ryerson, and then I would transfer to University of Toronto, into the pharmacology program. I'll call it UNT for now. U of T. So that was her. Yeah, she's an Asian parent's dream child. Like, can you hear it? Like,
she is.
And then got a holistic background.
Wow.
So she had a very bright future ahead of her, you know. Unfortunately,
Oh god, here it comes.
this was all a lie. Well, not all of it. Majority of it. A big part of it. And it was a big lie that Jennifer told her parents, to her friends, to cover up the real truth behind it. Yes.
Wait, so she's the murderer?
Is she? I don't know. So
So charismatic. I knew something was wrong.
Too good to be true, man.
Yeah.
she did academically well in her elementary school, throughout her whole elementary school life. But then by grade 9, her grades started to take a dive. And she wasn't getting A's, but she was getting like 70%. So like a B, like a average.
What?
Yeah, okay, right?
Get
But,
something I cried
that's
at.
not okay for her parents.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Who expected straight A's. Kind of like Singaporean parents also, but you know. So after that, you know, because of all this pressure to be a straight A student, she started to self-harm. I mean, everybody breaks down at a point, right? And especially with that much pressure built inside you, I guess you don't know where else to put it into lah. So she started self-harming. And at her grade 8 graduation, which was like a year before grade 9, which was about, I would say 13, 14 for us, just to put it in perspective. Yeah. She expected herself to be named valedictorian and also to receive a few medals because of her academic achievements, but Nothing. She didn't get any medal. She didn't get anything. She didn't get named valedictorian. So she felt like all her effort that she put into like studying and you know, all her long nights and doing so many things were just wasted. You know, she wasn't very recognized for it. She was so upset, and you know, but she said she was putting. She said she was happy about it. You know, she was like, yeah, I'm fine with it. You know, like putting a happy mask on. That's what she called it. She just put a happy mask. And just say, yeah, I'm fine. It's totally fine. So why would her parents think that she's getting straight A's? Even though she isn't. She's getting B's. Can you guess?
Killed someone and she took their report card.
Oh, wow. Early.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Okay. Too fast. She tricked her forged report card, no?
Okay, forged report card is somewhat like true. You know what she did? She took old report cards with straight A's. She would take scissors, glue,
I knew it.
and a photocopy machine, and then she would just paste, and then she would photocopy, and then she would get, hey,
That
this is my
is-
report card.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so big
If I could
brain,
evade my parents scolding, right, I would do that. Like, wow. But this is the beginning of her small lies, like just a beginning of her web of lies that she would, you know, have. So, like I mentioned before, Han was a tiger dad, and you know everything that I've told you so far is kind of like the tip of the iceberg. So
shit.
made her do piano lessons, figure skating classes. Till like her schedule was so intense and so packed. You know, but it's not all. So what he would do, or what her parents would do, is that they would pick her up every single day from school, and then monitor her extracurricular activities, which were like swimming and wushu back then, and then like ban her from any school dance, any school functions, because like it was deemed as unproductive.
That's right.
Oh, that's so fun.
Imagine you guys can't go prom.
I mean, if I choose not to go is one thing, but being unable to go.
Yeah, it's like it's like kind of like parents, like how to say, like, you know, everyone would judge you and say, oh my god, why is she not here, like, you know, that kind of thing, because she's actually kind of like friendly and stuff, but
you're
she's
right,
like she cannot go all these things. Oh my god.
Also, like the typical Asian rule, she wasn't allowed to date anybody till after university, and you know she wasn't able to go to any parties, and even at sleepovers, her parents would drop her off very late in the night and then pick her up very early in the morning. So she would
What's
spend
the
the
point?
least amount of time there.
What's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
She go there and sleep, then she come back.
Exactly.
She just free load one night only.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go
Basically,
lah.
just I rent a space on your floor. Ah. Yeah. So you know, like I have strict parents. I had parents who like tell me, okay, you have to come back at this time. You know, you cannot go out with your friends. No, I don't allow you to go even study, that kind of thing. But like not to this level, like monitoring. And this is literally tiger parenting, helicopter parenting, like at its
Next
best.
level. Yeah.
So like, you know, what would you guys have done?
Whew. I probably, I cannot blame her for, okay, it is her fault that she forged the report cards, but at the same time, you can't help but sympathize with her, you know, because she has all this stress on her. She's sleeping at 12 every day at the age of like 7, 8, leh, for God's sake. Of course she's bound to break, like, especially with the self-harming thing. And I bet she couldn't tell anyone, because if she told her parents would probably laugh. That's, you know, typical Asians. Like, don't believe in like this kind of depression thing, one. So it's like, wow, this so sad, but at the same time, it's like, shit, man. Especially with the sleepover thing. I'm sorry, but like, you just don't allow her to go at all, can? That's so sad, eh? You drop her off after her everything, which is 12. Already they're gonna sleep. Then she's already tired, so even if they talk in the middle of the night, she's gonna sleep, right? Because she's so tired. And then after that, you come at like, let's say 5 to pick her up. There was no point in sending her to the sleepover. Why would you do that?
Oh my god. But honestly, right, if the parents are not so strict, right, she wouldn't have forged all the report cards and stuff, right?
She really wouldn't, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
she
I'm
just want
pretty
to live
sure.
up to she just want to live up to like their expectations, you know, that kind of thing.
You know, aside from her frugal parents and being dog, she was a very pretty girl. She was, you know, she looked good. So at grade 11, this was before
Got boyfriend, man.
university, by the way. Yes,
Yeah,
she met a boy named Daniel.
Of course, the name is Daniel.
Yeah, and he was in this. I think he was in the school band. and he was 1 year older than her, so he was a senior.
God.
And he was described to be goofy, had a big laugh and a wide smile. And they basically remained friends until they went on a trip to Europe in 2003.
Like as a band?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
It was a school band trip, I think.
Wait, so the parents let her go, man?
Yeah, the parents let her go.
That's right.
The parents let
Wow.
her go.
Boom. That's
I mean, I guess it's because
groundbreaking.
it's like it's a school thing, so they were like, okay, just go. You know,
Okay,
if it was not a school thing, I don't think they would allow her to. So after they had a performance in one of the concert halls filled up with smoke, and because she had asthma, she started panicking and she couldn't breathe. You know, she's like,
No.
so the whole entire class like, no, go outside, take in fresh air, take deep breaths and whatnot. And then Daniel was there to like comfort her, and he's like, breathe in, breathe out. And from there on, she was like, oh my God, he's my hero. You know, he's my savior. Like he saved me
It
because
was just one time, but okay. All right.
she viewed it as he saved my life. He is my hero. So after that, you know, they started dating because she fell in love with him, like madly in love. What I think she thought was love.
I don't like where this is going. I do
Yeah.
not like where this is going.
So they started dating.
Daniel, you watch out.
So, so remember Han's rule? There's no boyfriends until after university. Not even during university, it's after university. So what was the thing? They had to keep their relationship a secret. They had to keep it a relationship a secret from their parents. They had to keep it a relationship, not from their parents, just her parents. From her parents, her friends, everybody, like anybody, it was just hush hush. So, you know, these were already two big lies. Relationship, failing grades.
Report card.
And you know how these big lies work, right? You just have to keep building on them, forming this web of lies until it just becomes so big and so intricate and massive and just you have to come up with so many details just to evade things. And so she built this narrative. She did build this narrative, and it was very big to cover her tracks. Now the bride Jennifer was earning mostly B's in school, and she did receive, that wasn't a lie, she did receive an early acceptance into Ryerson University. But then, the last point, she failed calculus. So, she failed calculus, I think, in her final exam.
That's math.
Which meant that she couldn't graduate high school.
No!
Yes. So that means the university rejected, like, not rejected, but like took back their offer.
Because she
failed. She couldn't graduate high school.
My God.
Who would want to accept this? Who would want to accept a non-graduate into a university? There's no such way to do that. So, guess what good old Jen did next?
She pretended to go to uni, but then she was actually camping in high school.
Well, half true, kind of. So, what did she do? She decided to tell her parents that, hey, I'm starting classes because it's an early admission, right? I'm starting classes in fall that year. Right after I graduate, I'm starting classes in fall. So I would go to campus and I would do the science degree for 2 years, and then I would transfer to U of T. Sorry, U of T. And I'll go into the pharmacology program. And you know, the father was like super excited at this, like, hey, you know, my daughter is a straight A student. She graduated high school at the top of the class, and then now she's got an early acceptance into university. Like, hey, I'm living the life with the best daughter ever.
She didn't even graduate, bro.
Yeah. So what he did was he bought her a laptop, and then she got used science
textbook. How do you lie to someone that much that they buy you a laptop for failing high school? I also want.
Yeah, she started to get used science textbooks, and then she bought stationery, whatnot. And September comes by, and she pretends to attend the orientation week. So now she's pretending to go to uni. So what the hell does she do in the meantime of going to uni? Taking the train down to Toronto.
Working.
Okay, Nadia?
Your boyfriend. This Daniel guy is bad news.
So, you know, her parents are very helicopter parents, right? So they want to know what she's doing in school.
Oh no.
So what she would do is she will go down to the public libraries. She will research on the computer. Let me check what, you know, like based on my judgment, what is related to this course. So she would search it on the web, and then after that she would just copy down notes on a textbook or or notebook. And then she would show it to her parents like, hey, this is what I learned in class. And on top of that, she would spend her time at cafes and visit Daniel when he was studying at another university. And she would also work as a server in the day. She would teach piano lessons, and then she would go to she would tend the bar at a pizza place that the boyfriend was a kitchen manager. After 2 years of doing all these things, she actually was supposed to, well, theoretically supposed to go and transfer, right? And then she lied to her dad that, yeah, I'm transferring. I was accepted into the school. I'm going to transfer. She said that because she's transferring, the transit will take a very long time every day. So she asked the parents, hey, 3 nights out of the whole entire week, can I just stay at a friend's house?
Oh my god, then her
Daniel's
boyfriend's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, she stayed at her boyfriend's house.
Oh my god, but
Daniel, I have my eye on you.
But honestly, right, I think her lies, right, is like super like big, Like I think it's so obvious to
Yeah.
parents, because the parents like stalk her and stuff, right? Like monitor her, right? Like why would they not know,
I think like maybe after when she went into university, they maybe like 放心一点,
yeah,
like,
not
like,
so
Yeah.
Basically the dad was more of the tiger parent. The mom was like an accomplice to it, like an unwilling accomplice. So she would help Jennifer from time to time. She would pull back a little bit from being the tiger parent. So she allowed her to, stay at her friend's house. And then 2 years go by, and she's supposed to have graduated from university with a degree. Her boyfriend decides to hire a person to fake a transcript of her good grades so that she would have all A's to show to her parents. And then so that her parents would not go to the graduation ceremony, she said that, this class is too big. So they only allow one guest per student. I can only bring one person. So I don't want to have to choose between the two of you.
I'm bringing my friend.
I'm going to give the ticket to my friend. So eventually, her lies just began to
I'm feeling stressed for her, leh. How do you lie that much? Wow.
While supposedly studying at U of T, she told her parents about this like exciting new thing that she was volunteering at a blood testing lab at a hospital. And it would require late night shifts. So she wanted to stay at her friend's house, Topaz, for longer periods of times. But then Han was like, hey, this is a bit odd. You don't have a uniform, you don't have badges. And working at a hospital, you need these things because like you need to be identifiable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like drugs and other things that are kept inside a hospital. You cannot just let any old Joe just go inside and take whatever they want, right? One night he was insistent, I'm gonna drive you to the hospital, and that day she was like, she got out of the car immediately when they stopped. She got out of the car. She was like, bye, and then she ran in. The father was like, fishy. Mother, go inside, follow her. So the mother was like, okay, fine. Then she went in to chase after Jen, and she was like, just looking around. And Jen knew that her mom was like coming after her already. She goes into the waiting room of the emergency room to just hide for a few hours till her parents left. The parents the next day called her friend Topaz, where she was supposedly staying at, right? So called her, and then she was like, hey, is she there? Sorry, Mrs. Pan. Sorry, Mr. Pan. Jen is not there. Jen's not here. She's not sleeping over. So when she finally returns,
Oh god.
Han is furious. He's angry already. He's like, you lied to me, whatnot.
Wait till you find out what else she lied about, girl.
And then
Okay, boy.
Yeah, so he confronted her, and basically she let everything out. She confessed
she told him
everything. She confessed that she didn't volunteer at the hospital. She didn't get into U of T. She was staying at Daniel's house rather than Topaz. She didn't even go to university at all. And best of yet, to top the icing, she didn't even graduate high school. And he wanted to kick her out. He was like, get out of my house. No, don't.
Yeah, then she go to the boyfriend's house lah. Yeah. Easy.
But then her mom was very sympathetic. So her mom was like, no, let her stay here. Go up to your room. I want to talk this through with Dad. So what the compromise was that she could live in the house was house arrest. House arrest,
Cannot
basically.
leave her.
Yeah. So for 2 weeks after the incident, they took away her phone, they took away her laptop. She wasn't
Oh
able to
my
contact
God.
anybody. And even after the 2 weeks, she was given stipulated times to like use her devices, and she will only be able to use her devices in front of her parents, like with supervision. And like she would have like
extreme,
spontaneous text checks, like, hey, give me your phone, let me check your text messages. So you're not contacting anybody, you're not contacting Daniel. So cut off the connection with Daniel. So no laptop, no phone, no Daniel.
I'm gonna break up, bro. Let them have a breakup at least. Like,
yeah.
the hell?
So even when she managed to get a little bit of freedom, she was able to teach piano lessons, and even when driving on the road, her parents would check the mileage of the car, so like see how far she goes.
Oh my god, are you serious?
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then when she was
Okay,
given more freedom, she was able to enroll into a course to finish up her high school education.
And how old was she then?
Yeah, good question. I was going to mention that she was should be 22, 23 already.
Oh my God.
It's like 22, 23 years old. Probably maybe around there, 24.
That's
Around
a whole adult leh.
Yeah, she's in her mid-20s, and this is what her parents are doing.
Why didn't they stop to think about like why did she lie so much? You know, I feel like they should have at least stopped to think about it, because it's also, the blame is also on them, you know. If they weren't like so tiger parenting, like if they weren't so like strict on her, things probably would have gone down a very different route. But it all started from their parenting. That's why she turned out like having to lie so much.
Basically, Jennifer was madly in love. Well, she thought she was madly in love with Daniel. And, you know, she was very lonely during those 2 weeks that she wasn't able to have contact with him. For the 2 weeks that she was under house arrest, her mother would be with her constantly. But then her mother would side with her a little bit lah. And then she would tell her, hey, you know, this is where your dad hid your phone. You can go and use it for now. So she would just text. And then after that, she would also sneak her phone to her room. And under the blanket, you know, just like under the blanket, she would call Daniel, like, hey, you know, how you doing? I miss you.
Ayo, so cute.
Then she would also sneak out to Daniel's house in the middle of the night. And one time, her mother caught her because when she went into the room in the morning to, I think, retrieve something from Jennifer's room, she wasn't there. Well, she received hell for that. After that, you know, she was placed under house arrest again, I guess. And basically, somewhere down this line, Daniel didn't really want this relationship to keep going on. He's already 25 years old. You know, he's in his mid-20s, and he's still having a girl who's like behaving, well,
like
in
a
his
child,
eyes, behaving like a 15-year-old. Like, oh, I cannot talk to you because, you know, my dad is
Coming.
that kind of thing. It's like, why? You are a full-grown adult. Like, why are you still doing this? You know, all these kinds of things. And he couldn't understand. I mean, I'm pretty sure he understood it, but he was like, I cannot do this anymore. So he was like, I'm gonna break up with you. And Jen was heartbroken because she loved him so much, right? Not even like so long after the breakup, he started dating another girl called Christine.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
So this drives her to the edge. And this is like where you start to see her really lose her mind. And so because she was so obsessed with Daniel, but she couldn't go out to do all the, like, you know, to try and get him back, like physically, like, you know, no, this is my boyfriend, that kind of thing. So what she did was she came up with a very elaborate lie about Christine and how she wanted to make him hate her. So what she did was she told Daniel that, hey, you know, one day when I was home alone, my parents weren't home, and I heard a knock on the door, and this guy put a police badge to the peephole of the door and said, you know, this is police. And so when she opened up the door, a group of, I think, about 5 men came into her house and sexually assaulted her in the foyer of her house. She said after the ordeal, 5 days later, I received a bullet in the mail. You know who did this? Christine. Christine did this because she hates me so much. Yeah. And so he breaks it off with Christine, and then they're back together. Stronger than ever, back together. Like, hello.
Oh my god, why is it like that, Sia? Oh my god, why? Oh my god, I didn't know why the guy so stupid.
Oh, I think it's because he has ties to like at one point in time he was arrested for having weed in his car and stuff. So he runs around in that circle as well. So he's like, you know, it's possible that these things could happen living in a dangerous society, that kind of thing. Further down along the line, she reconnects with a elementary school friend called Andrew. So this guy was bragging to her all about like how, you know, hey, I rob people at gunpoint one. And she started opening up to him about how she hates her father. And so to that, Andrew's response was, hey, you know, at one point, I wanted to kill my dad. You know, I hated my dad and I wanted to kill him. But I feel like this is something like you say as a friend, this forms in the brain, and you know, that stupid cuckoo brain. It's like, hey, what if I killed my dad? I'll be reading this world of Han Pan. Like, hey, you know, I wouldn't be under this tyrannical control. I wouldn't be under house arrest. I would be able to live my life and be happy with Daniel, and you know, I don't have to keep lying and stuff. So Jennifer and Daniel, who were back together and talking and flirting and stuff, you know, exchanging flirty texts and stuff, they got into a topic about inheritance. How if she killed her parents, she would be able to get $500, you know, inheritance. She would be able to drive the cars that they drive. She would be able to get the house that they have. They would be able to live together in that house. And I think somewhere along the lines of it is like, he was like, hey, this is a good prospect. This is a good thing for my future. I would have the house. I would have a car. You know, I would have money. And so like, it's like, yeah, you know, I'm going to do this with her. Like this really putting into stone.
God.
Yeah.
Oh God, I knew Daniel was bad news.
So what did he do? He gave her a burner phone, which was an iPhone that he gave her an iPhone. And he said, contact this guy called Lanford Crawford, who goes by Homeboy. So I'm just going to refer to him as Homeboy because that's how he went by. And so Homeboy told her that, hey, you know, my usual rates are $20,000 to kill people. But since you're a friend of Daniel's, since you're his girlfriend, you know, you're related to him, I'm going to slash the prices by 50%. So you just have to pay $10,000. And so they were like, okay, sure. They agree on the price. And then on Halloween night, he goes to her house to survey the place, just to like scope out anything, like how I'm gonna enter, check the windows, whatnot. And on November the 2nd, which was I think like 2-3 days afterwards, Daniel called Jennifer and said, hey, you know, I've been having feelings for Christine again. She's having feelings for me, and I kind of want to get back with her. And Jennifer was like, you know, okay, fine. If you're gonna do that, then call off the hit. Call off the hit on my parents. You know, tell Homeboy that it's over. It's not gonna happen. And Jennifer was like, but aren't you doing this for you? You know, like call it off with Homeboy. Yeah. You said you wanted this with or without me. Like, hey, you know, it's for you, isn't it? And Jennifer's like, yeah, it's for me. And then they stopped talking for that day. The next day, he was like, hey, you know, everything's lined up. Everything's ready. We can go. And so it was like, what the heck? Like 180 turn. He went from, I want to break up with you to, hey, you know, let's kill your parents together. You know, this just shows like the cuckoo couple is probably made for each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really the cuckoo couple is like, what the heck? Do you guys not think about this? Like, who would be the first suspects on the list, man? You think about it. But anyway, what it was thought to be, it was supposedly what their plan was, carry out a robbery. It was supposed to be, hey, you know, I'm gonna do a robbery gone wrong. So like the robbers going in, they threaten and they accidentally kill. You know, because there's a struggle and stuff.
Okay.
So November 8th rolls around and Homeboy texts Jennifer, after work, okay, will be game time. Exact text. Grammar is... That evening, Jennifer was watching shows in her bedroom, like Netflix shows, girly shows. You know. I think it was like Gossip Girl or something. And Han was downstairs reading the Vietnamese news. And he, at around 8:30 p.m., he went upstairs to go to bed. And the brother, Felix, was off at university, so, he wasn't at home at all. And Vic, the mother, was at a line dance thing. She was line dancing with her friends till she came home about 9:30. At 9:35, she at 9:30, and then she decided to change into her PJs and soak her feet in front of the TV. And just like, relaxing after line dancing. At 9:35 p.m., a man named David, who is a friend of Homeboy, called Jennifer, and they spoke for 2 minutes. Jennifer then went downstairs to say good night, kiss her mom good night, and then opened the front door. So she unlocked the front door. Then at 10:02 p.m., the light in the study switched on for 1 minute, and then it switched off. So this was thought to be like maybe a signal. It's like, hey, I've done whatever needs to be done. Then at 10:05, Daniel called again. David called again, and they spoke for 3.5 minutes. Right after the call, 3 intruders burst into the door. Each intruder for one person, basically. So one for the dad, one for the mom, one for Jennifer, right? So each person took the one person down. So the 2 intruders took Han down from his bedroom, and as Big was running up the stairs, the other one grabbed down and put him in the living room. And then Jennifer, who was upstairs, was tied with a shoelace. I don't know how they tied her. And then basically told her to go into her bedroom and give them the money. So she went into the bedroom, gave them $2,500. And then she went into the parents' room to take money also from the nightstand. And then she went down to the kitchen to take from her mom's wallet. So basically, the parents are paying
for their own death.
For their own death, yeah. I was like, wait. The parents are paying for their own death. I was like, what the heck? So while she was digging around for the money, like Big was, while she was digging around for the money, Big was like, how did he get into the house? Like, I locked the door. Like, how on earth? Like, and Han was like, I don't know, I was sleeping. They were yelling in Cantonese. So he's like, where's the money? Where's the money? And Han was like, hey, I only got $60 in my wallet. I've only got $60. Definitely there's more money hidden around the house, but he's like, I only got $60 in my wallet. And the man was like, liar. And then after he whacks him across the head with a pistol. So, I forgot to mention they were armed. So he whacks him across the head with a pistol. And ouch. Yeah, so he kind of blacks out. And Big is like basically right next to her husband, right? And he's like, no, don't hurt our daughter. Just please don't hurt our daughter, because she's evaluated the situation. It's like, this is more than a robbery. This is not just a normal robbery. This is, normally robbers won't do this. Normally robbers won't leave tracks and like after people have witnessed their faces, kill somebody or knock somebody out, inflict violence. So that's just not a normal MO for robbers. And so they were like, hey, rest assured, she will not be hurt if she's nice. And the last intruder, who's named Carty, he led Jennifer back upstairs after she got the money from her mom's wallet. She went back upstairs and tied her to the banister. So tied her arms to the banister in like this position, I guess. And basically they took the 2 parents into their basement, and then put a sack over their heads. And then they shot Han twice, once in the shoulder, then once in the face. And then he basically just crumpled to the floor. And then they shot Big 3 times in the face, once in the head. And that killed her instantly. So she was dead instantly. And then they ran out through the door. So Jennifer somehow managed to retrieve the phone that was inside her waistband. And she managed to dial 911. And she's like, please help me, I need help. I don't know where my parents are. Please help me, please hurry. And at the 34-second mark of the call, she starts to hear moaning. And it's Han moaning in the basement. And he had awoken covered in blood with his dead wife's body next to him. And he crawled out to the main floor. Jen was telling me, she was like, hey, Dad, I'm calling 911. Like, it's all gonna be okay. But Han doesn't even go up to get Jennifer. He runs out of the house. And he's hysterical. He's screaming like, help. He okay, I don't know if it's helped, but he was just basically screaming. And just that coincidentally, his neighbor was leaving for work at night. And so he was like, help. And the neighbor dialed 911 for him, and police came, ambulance came, and then they took Han to the hospital and stuff. So after that, the police interviewed Jen just before 3 a.m. and she told them that the man would enter the house looking for money, tied her to the banister, then her parents, took her parents down to the basement and shot them. And 2 days after, then brought her into to give a second statement after the crime, right? Then she began to show them, because they were like, they didn't believe her at first, like, how on earth do you take your phone out from your waistband? It was a flip phone. How do you call, whatnot? So she decided to contort her body and show them that it actually can be done. And I was like, okay, fine, you did it, whatnot. And but then holes started to be seen and emerge from her stories. And the police, police are smart people. Not all police, but hey, detectives know what's right, kind of like they know holes when they see them, right? So some of the questions that they had for her was, if the keys to the Lexus was in plain view in the front door,
why didn't they take the Lexus?
Yeah, why didn't they take the car? If this was a home invasion for robbery, why didn't they take the car? It's one of the most prized possessions. And why didn't they have a crowbar to get in? They didn't even prepare one. And the front door was wide open, like unlocked basically. And they didn't even carry a backpack. Because like when you are stealing something, you need a backpack to load stuff into, right? You need to like steal money and take prized possessions and whatnot. And by the way, nothing was stolen from the crime scene. Like at the house,
only the
nothing
money
was
lah.
stolen. Except for the money that she willingly gave. Nothing was stolen at the crime scene. They did mess up the house to make it look like it was ransacked through, but nothing was stolen. So, and then one of the most important is, why would they shoot 2 witnesses but leave one unharmed? So after that, the police were monitoring Jennifer's movements. So first it was the parents monitoring the movements. Now the police are monitoring her movements. So in the meantime of all these things, Han, with his injuries that he sustained, he fell into a coma right after the whole entire thing, with all his injuries and everything. He fell into a coma for 3 days. And when he woke up, he had a broken bone near his eye, bullet fragments lodged in his face that doctors couldn't remove, and a shattered neck bone. And basically the bullet had grazed an artery. So he remembered everything, he remembered everything from the crime scene. He didn't even lose any memory of it. So he remembered that he recalled seeing his daughter chatting softly with the intruder like a friend. And he said he said that with one of the intruders that her arms were not tied behind back, and she was being led around the house to get the money. So basically she was just walking around like this and then bring the intruder along like, hey, come on, and then take the money and whatnot. So it wasn't actually tied with a shoelace. She said it was tied with a shoelace, but it isn't. So on November the 22nd, the police brought Jennifer in for the third interview. This one developed a different tone, the detective. And he said that, she was involved in the crime. It was like, you are clearly involved in the crime. Like this cannot be just a home invasion gone wrong. So it's like, you better fess up. Like this, your dad has started talking, whatnot. And you better confess to this crime. And so she, under all the stress and everything, she broke down. She's like, but what happens to me if I do?
Oh God, girl.
So after 4 hours of interrogation and everything, she didn't fess up. She created a very absurd lie. Wow, this girl can lie.
Never learns.
So she said that it had been an attack. She said that the attack had been an elaborate attempt to commit suicide, but it gone horribly wrong. She had given up on life and couldn't manage to kill herself. So she hired homeboy to kill, to do the deed for her. And in September, she decided to call off the hit. She's like, no, I don't want to kill myself anymore. But then, she said that information didn't really get across, and so ultimately the deed was still done, and the man ended up killing the parents instead of her. So like information was just like
Okay, that's like believable to a certain extent.
Yeah, but then I guess the police didn't really because her plan ended up killing her parents. So they ultimately still arrested her, and so they started to go through all the texts between the four of them, the three intruders and the boyfriend plus her. So 5 of them, sorry, and they were all charged with first-degree murder because it's an attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Yeah, so all of them got first degree murders on their charges, and they're all sentenced. Jennifer is sentenced to life imprisonment, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's the story.
I can't believe. Okay, look, I think the worst part of this is that the mom was actually the one that like Ellie with her, but the mom was the one that ended up dying instead of the dad.
And the father survived. Up to today, he is still around, but I think it's a bit sad because like it's already sad as much as it is. He said that when I lost my wife, I lost my daughter at the same time. Because
yeah, well, maybe if you
your daughter order a hit on you, I'm pretty sure you just be like, I don't want to claim her as my daughter anymore. Like, hey, what the heck? And so he said he felt like he didn't have a family anymore.
But still got a brother, what?
He does have a brother, but they are both emotionally scarred from this. Like, I'm pretty sure you cannot just live this down like a normal person anymore. So he said that I feel lucky to be alive some days, but sometimes I feel dead too. It's like my wife is gone. I don't have a daughter anymore. The daughter that I thought I loved so much, and say now because of the injuries that he sustained, he's unable to work. He also suffers from anxiety attacks, insomnia, and when he sleeps at night, he gets nightmares. I mean, it's understandable, right? Yeah. And so he said he's in constant pain, and he gave up gardening and working on his cars and listening to music, and because all these activities just don't bring him joy anymore. And I think it's sad that you can't even listen to music and feel joy. Like,
yeah.
That's so upsetting.
But the brother like them 可怜 eh. Can you imagine the brother like the sis then the brother like out of everything like he don't know what's happening, and then he just like like I can't even die already like kind of thing, like like parents die, the dad injuries, and sister also go jail. Then he's like like why am I here, that kind of thing. Then he will feel like confirm like why am I with this family, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So Felix, the brother, actually after graduating with an engineering degree, I think from a university,
oh my God, it's so
he moved to the East Coast to he moved to the East Coast to work at a private technological company and escape the whole stigma of being a Pan family member, because this case was infamous. It was talked about a lot. So he was like, I don't want to deal with the stress, and I don't want to deal with everything. So after all that, he has still suffered from depression. He has suffered from he's very closed off. He doesn't talk about it a lot, and so he but ultimately the father is like, hey, I love my daughter, and he's being the bigger person in which maybe I won't even be if I was the parent. He's like, Jennifer is now in prison, and I hope she learns how to be a good person from there on. It's like, hey, even though she ordered a hit on me,
No, but honestly, it's kind of his fault also, I feel. Like he's not that controlling of daughter, then I don't think he'll end up this way though.
Yeah, honestly.
I think it's all born out of that lah.
So at the same time, no one's in the right, but no one's in the wrong either, because what Jennifer did was definitely very it's very extreme and also definitely very morally wrong. But if you think about how much she's been through throughout her whole life, like imagine being controlled by your parents until you're a young adult, like you're 25 and your parents are still doing checks on you on your phone. Like, wow. It's wow. Ooh, that was so heavy.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is a heavy case to start off with.
Whew.
Yeah. But I think it's also the fact that I think a lot of people argue with as it might not be the parenting style. I think it could have been born out that it's like, this hatred for your parents that kind of caused this whole thing. I've watched a video and somebody had a opinion on it was saying it's like, hey, she's just cuckoo and she's mad and because like, when Daniel said, I'm gonna break it off with you, I'm gonna follow Christine. She's like, hey, then don't order and hit out my parents. Like, I don't want my parents to die now. So it looked as if she was doing things because she wanted to stay with Daniel, that she wanted to be with him. And because the only obstacle that was in the way was
it
her
was
parents.
her parents. Oh.
Yeah. But I feel like maybe the parenting style could have led to this whole thing of like being constantly cautious and being and when you have lost everything in life, where you have thought to lost everything in life, you don't have phone, you don't have access to the outside world, you don't have the love of your life, I think she went ballistic and she just threw all caution just to the wind, and she's just like, hey, I'm just gonna like kill my parents, kill everybody, and I'm gonna live with Daniel because like that's the only obstacle that's in my way. Like that's my parents. Like it was like go big or go home, and she decided to go really really big and kill the people that gave her life.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so heavy.
So what are your final thoughts about this case?
Oh. I think Wan Ting can go first.
Let me think. Actually, I feel like honestly, I feel that like I think I can I can understand her lah. Like I feel like maybe it's like her parents parenting that led her to this like action lah. But like I guess like she's also not dating the good boyfriend lah. I guess if she's dating like a good boyfriend, I don't think the boyfriend would like want her to lie also. Like maybe he will like tell her like, hey, don't lie lah. Like maybe we just like I can go with you to like talk to the parents and everything. I feel like the parents may be so strict, but then I feel that she should try to like talk it out to the parents, saying like, oh, I'm so stressed. Can you like let me off and kind of thing, like break down and say like, can you all stop controlling me? I really feel like tell them the real feelings. Maybe it helps, because I feel like the dad is not that bad. Thinking of like what he said just now, like when he's injured and stuff. So maybe he can still like relate to like his daughter, and then maybe like they won't die, and then the daughter won't go to like this like jail everything already. I feel so maybe like talking out will help lah. I feel like Asian parents like they also won't be like so unreasonable lah. I feel yeah.
Because at the end of the day, most of the things they do is for your future. What like for us, like okay lah. For especially for this case, it was very very extreme. But like what Wan Ting said, I think if Jen had bothered to talk it out and be a bit more rational about it, I think things would have turned out a lot better. But at the same time, you can't really blame her because all these lies started from when she was very young, right? So I think at heart, all this lying and all this running around and trying to escape, it kept her mental age at like as a child. That's why she didn't really think through rationally, and that's why she just went spiraling and did all of that. It's like, it's very complicated. There's so many sides to this story, so you can't really say who's wrong and who's right, because the father is right, but the father is also wrong, and Jen is also to a certain extent right, but she's also definitely very wrong for it. And I pity the brother lah.
Yeah, I think the whole entire victim of this whole entire thing is the brother.
Because
actually the mom, because the mom like helped her a bit, but then end up die.
Yeah. The mom was definitely the more sympathetic parent out.
Yeah. Because honestly, like if I'm the Jennifer, right, I wouldn't kill my mom because like she helped me, I'll kill my dad, kind of thing. And not like my dad, but I mean if I'm Jennifer, oh my god, If I can live, I'll kill the one that treat me so badly and not the one that helped me. Like a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I ultimately wouldn't kill my parents. I would just move out. Like, in more Western, I mean, guess here we don't exactly have the culture of moving out after we go to university, after we find a job, that kind of thing, right? It's like, if you start a family, then you move out.
Yeah.
But in that culture, more of in Canada at least, if they're trying to live the more Western dream, Western life, you know, I feel like she should have moved out when you know, just say like, hey, all my friends are doing this. It's the only reasonable thing. Let me move out and let me, you know, just be with my friends and let me start my life, because that's the very Western way of life, especially if that's what they were pursuing.
That's true.
Anyway, what I think is like, you know, when you lie, like, honestly, I think all of us have lied to our parents before, right?
At a certain point.
Because, I mean, I can't say for everybody, every Singaporean child, but you know, for me, my parents are super overprotective, so they have like kept me at home a lot and not allow me to do a lot of things, and basically I have to lie and say like, hey, you know, I'm home when I'm not, and then like, because my parents are usually at work, so I'll be like, hey, you know, no, I didn't go out with this person, not boy, friend. So like, you know, all these things, like small little white lies that probably won't amount to anything, but I guess that's what Jennifer saw in her mind with the whole report card and everything.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know, these things are in the system, but it's a white lie. I you know, it's a small thing.
And honestly, if she actually like, if like she continued it because like her parents didn't find out, then she think it's working, so she went on. So if let's say the parents find out, right, I think then she may stop it. Like she may really like say out everything earlier, and I think things won't go like this way already.
Yeah. And also like the reason why I think she never spoke up about like mental health and everything is back then it wasn't that big a thing. Additionally, also it was like, you know, this was like in 2010, so mental health wasn't really like a booming thing that was a topic of like interest or discussion. So additionally to that is like, you know, when you have such strict parents, the only thing you can do is lie. I feel like that sometimes that's the way that we live, and once you get used to lying, you get like one thing, once you get used to lying, you get away with it, you just keep lying and lying, and you think a bigger lie is just a tiny bit bigger than the previous lie, and I'll just keep lying, and because the parents think of her as such a good child, she just it just accumulated to that much of a consequence, you know, like a first-degree murder charge. I mean, she put a hit out on her parents, you know, she paid for it, and her parents technically paid for it too. So that was upsetting.
That
was like a whole new spin to helicopter parenting, Asian parenting,
this
parenting, you know. So this, I feel like this story threw Asian parenting, helicopter parenting into the light. Really like, hey, you know, this is not okay. But I think it's different cultures, right? Because what we see Jennifer like, I think if Jennifer was put into our society, Singaporean society, I don't think it would be the same thing. I don't think it would happen. I think it was mainly because of the people that surrounded her had so much more freedom. You know, it's the Western way of life. It's somewhat like the American dream where you are more individualistic and you want to succeed by yourself and all these kinds of things. So like she was seeing all her peers having more freedom than her. She was seeing her peers not having to do intense work just to please their parents, and you know, these kinds of things. And their schedule wasn't hectic, their schedule was so much free, they get to hang out with each other, they don't get watched by their parents every single hour, every single minute, you know. And I feel like that's what she wanted to break away from because of people who surrounded her. But I feel like if she was in Singaporean society, right, hell no, she wouldn't even think of putting, I mean, like, first of all, we don't even have guns, so so there's that. And additionally, everybody's put under similar stress. like copious amounts of stress, definitely. I mean, in her case, I think it was a copious amount of stress. Like even for me, it wouldn't be that case, and even for Singaporean students right now, I don't think the parents will go to the extent of lining up the activities to that much, because
Yeah.
definitely education here is very important. So it would
Way
even
more
have like
important,
figure
yeah.
skating or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, study. So yeah, I think there's so many elements to this story that I think formed Jennifer's hatred, rage, anger, and she began to just lose it all.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I'm gonna lose everything. I might as well just lose everything. And if I can gain a house and a car by killing my parents, this weird, fantastical, murderous game of house inside her head that she was played out, and now she's in jail with the four other guys.
But honestly, I feel if it's in Singapore, right, I don't think it will happen like till so extreme though. Like for example, because we don't have guns and all, like we don't have such cases also. Because like let's say if like you're in the States or anything, right, you keep hearing like, oh, like someone kill this, then you'll feel like very influenced, and you like it builds up your hatred, and you will like want to like kill your parents maybe. But like maybe in Singapore we don't really have such cases, like very less, like maybe have, but like super rare for kids to kill their parents. So like you won't have the mindset to go and like go ahead with what you want, that kind of thing. So like, I feel like it's more rare lah. I think in Singapore it's like more control, and I think most people I know and see, like they're quite like filial to their parents, like they won't think of like killing them, no matter how bad they are, right? But they won't feel like the parents like deserve to die, that kind of thing. I feel, yeah.
Because I think it's also the Asian concept of where family and like familiar relations over everything else, over self. Whereas the Western culture is always self is most important. Like I'll live for myself, So there's that different way of thinking. I guess her parents were still kind of like, hey, you gotta build your career for yourself so that your future generations will be able to enjoy and reap and reap what you have sown. So it tragically ended in the passing of her mother and the unemployment
of her
father and the depression of her brother. So I mean, it was a stupid decision made, and it had very big consequences that they did not think about. But I was like, how if these hitmen were like smart, like thinking from a murderer's point of view, and like the points that the police brought up, like, hey, why was it not why do you not bring bags, why do you not bring a crowbar, like why do you not take the Lexus key, like make it look like a crime scene. It was already bound to fail because of poor planning. So like I don't know, I think they were like stupid young adults that decided to think that the world is really their oyster and take it, Yeah, it's a very weird murderous. I won't say it's weird, but it's a very
stupid lah.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupidity at its finest. It's just wow.
Like they thought about the part where the parents die and then they get the inheritance, but they didn't think about what if they find out I was the one to kill the parents.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like
So yeah, that is the end of our first episode, which is the Jennifer Pan story. So if you guys want to see any more of, just comment down below what you guys want to see in the following episodes in this series. Just comment down below, and also subscribe for more of such content. And also check out Wan Ting's video that will be coming out soon, I think. And she will be talking about the effects of social media. So check that one out, and remember to subscribe and also like this video. Thank you. Bye.
bye.